Jai Atmeshwar, Samarpan Yog of the Himalayas, Part 1, Episode 44. I used to bathe him every morning. Nowadays, he had given me permission to bathe him. I was very happy in his presence. I used to go to the jungle and bring fruits for him. I cooked the leaves for his meals by boiling them and then served him. But day by day, Gurudev's body was becoming weaker. He had kept control over his body through meditation. Now he had removed that control and age was catching up very fast with him. He used to eat only a few fruits in the morning. That was his only diet. He kept giving me information about what is to be found in which place and where I should go at what time. The days passed and he became weaker and weaker. Now he had no desire to live anymore, and no matter how much care I took of him and how much I served him, he did not wish to live. Then what more could be done? He used to say, "Now my body is tired and cannot serve me anymore. The body also needs rest. I did not take care of my body during my life, and still it took care of me." One day he was speaking with closed eyes. "Oh, I have reached the world of gurus. The energies of all the gurus are present here. All the energies that were created as a result of the spiritual practice undertaken by all the gurus who had incarnated on earth are present in the world of gurus. The physical bodies of gurus are not present anymore, but their energies still continue to exist, and I too have joined that group. All the energies from the world of gurus are watching. Which human being will continue to perform their work? Which human being is praying for the happiness and peace of the community? Which human being wishes to work for the welfare of society? Which human being is doing meditation? The person who meditates merges his existence in the meditation and is absorbed in it. These energies are performing work by making that person their medium. As long as man's ego is present, as long as the feeling of I is present, he cannot undertake any work for the spiritual energies. Because of his ego, he can only take up work which he sees and which he can show. He won't be able to perform work which gives a spiritual experience. nor will any spiritual work happen through him, because spiritual work cannot be performed. It just happens. I have reached the world of gurus, and I can clearly see my physical body. I feel ashamed to see my body from there. How negligible is my existence! And yet, man has so much ego about himself. Like a frog in a well, he thinks that the world around him is the whole world. Hey, the world is very big. The frog realizes this when it reaches the ocean. A human being's stature is as small as an insect, but man cannot realize this stature when he is present in the physical body. What is the existence of one human being in this vast universe? It's nothing, but this fact cannot be realized while one exists in the physical body. Man wastes his whole life by holding on to a small, tiny body. The Guru energies keep on watching all of this with amusement from the world of Gurus. Who is doing meditation and how much meditation he is able to get. Man should undertake only two kinds of work. Firstly, to have the desire to perform good work, and secondly, to meditate and to merge one's existence in the universe. One's ego is the last to merge in this process of merging. Man does not perform any work after his ego disappears, as the work happens on its own through him. It does not matter how much proximity of the Sadguru he has obtained. What is important is how much he understood him, how much he believed in him, how much he acquired from him, and how much he experienced from him, because the Sadguru has to be experienced. That soul receives the presence of the Sadguru because of the good deeds he has performed in his previous birth. His good deeds will end, and the presence will also come to an end. But first of all, man needs to know himself. If man can get to know himself during his lifetime, then he will also understand what his stature is in this world. And when he realizes that his stature is not more than even a small insect, he will stop being egoistic and give up his I sense. Thus, he will surrender to the Guru energies. Just as a seed cannot sprout without splitting, similarly, inner knowledge is not possible without the breaking of man's ego. The sprouting of inner knowledge is not possible without the breaking of the covering of one's ego. In this world, knowing about one's soul is knowledge, and everything else that is written in books is information. It is knowledge about others. When man understands himself, he will also know his identity, how momentary his life is, and how short it is. When he realizes that his life is short, then he will make proper use of every moment of that short life. He will realize the value of each breath. Man is needlessly egoistic. I am doing everything. He will realize that he cannot take even an extra breath. Life is a string of some breaths, and each breath is important. Man takes 10 positive breaths, and even one negative breath that he takes returns him to the same place from where he started. Man goes through life like this, and when he dies, the ego of the physical body breaks, and then he repents. I wasted my whole life in useless thoughts. Now, I won't make the same mistake again. Thinking in this manner, he takes another birth, and thus this wheel of life and death never ends. One's ego is actually similar to the excreta of one's physical body. It cannot be destroyed completely, but it can be controlled. Man realizes his stature after he comes to know himself, and he comes to know about his stature when he absorbs greatness. Thus, man cannot realize his own identity without experiencing the greatness. The path to free oneself from ego is the presence of the Sadguru, because the Sadguru will always hit one's ego. An egoistic person cannot believe in or accept a Sadguru, nor will he be able to remain in the Sadguru's proximity. A Sadguru and one's ego cannot exist together, because the Sadguru is the master of one's soul. You accepted an ordinary person within your mind as Paramatma, despite being aware that he is not Paramatma, that he is a medium of Paramatma. Believing in someone is a feeling of one's soul. The feeling of one's soul will not appear until the feeling of one's body ends. The feeling of ego is a feeling of one's body, and as long as man has the feeling of one's body, the feeling of the soul cannot appear. That is why an egoistic person cannot think of anyone else except himself as superior. It is very difficult to accept someone else as being superior to oneself. This is the reason why egoistic people do not believe in the energies of Paramatma. They do not accept anyone above themselves. No human being can completely wipe out his ego for all time. The ego remains present in a small form in man, and as soon as it finds a suitable atmosphere, it appears. When man says, "I do not have any ego," that is also a type of ego. Man can control his ego only after recognizing his identity, and man understands his identity only in the presence of a Sadguru. Then man's ego slowly begins to decrease on its own. The energies of the Gurus are present in the Guru world. They are always ready to find out which sadhak's body is ready to absorb them. The sadhak is not eager to accept those energies, but the energies are more eager to give him the energy. This happens because whether the sadhak's nature is to accept or not, it is the nature of energies to keep on giving. It is their nature, and they are always eager to give. Man spends most of his time sleeping and thinking. He wastes it going here and there, performing useless deeds and thinking badly about others. Man spends very little time in getting to know his own self. He spends his entire life in trying to understand others, but never tries to know himself. It is very difficult to know oneself, and this becomes possible only after a long devoted practice of meditation. The Guru energies are eagerly waiting in the Guru world. They are waiting to see which physical body, whilst remaining on earth, can reach the Guru world through the practice of meditation. The Guru energies will make such a person their medium, and through him they will incarnate on earth. Then, as a result of becoming a medium, a person having an ordinary physical body will also be able to carry out extraordinary tasks, because that body could become the medium of the energies. It is possible to become a medium after a long devoted meditative practice of 800 years. I am telling you all these things because I have reached the Guru world in my lifetime, and no lifespan remains for me to continue to live. This means that I cannot distribute this knowledge even if I want to. It is impossible to perform both these tasks in one birth. Life is very short, and devotional practice takes a long time. In my lifetime, I have performed the task of making inner knowledge happen. Now, in your life, you have to take up the task of distributing it, as only then will this be possible? Man cannot create anything new on his own in order to understand himself. That is why we will have to believe in others in order to know ourselves. And believing is the pure feeling of one's soul. I couldn't understand what Gurudev was saying. I was worried because of his condition and he was enjoying himself. He was very happy in his own exalted state. He was present in his body, but he had given up physical desires. He suffered from several physical problems, but he appeared to be like a calm and deep ocean which maintains all its secrets within itself. When he stopped speaking, I asked Gurudev to rest and made him lie down and sat there massaging his feet and fell asleep right there without realizing it. I had been sitting near Gurudev's bed for several nights and I would go to sleep there. I did not keep Gurudev away from my side even for a moment. I was deeply worried about his health. Gurudev's bed was made of leaves and grass, and he slept very comfortably on it. There were very few objects in his hut. There were no utensils, and there was a piece of bamboo which served as a glass to drink water, and banana leaves served as plates. He did not have many objects in the hut. These days, he found it difficult to move around, and I had to hold his hand to bring him out of the hut. Jayatmeshwar, we'll conclude today's book reading session over here. Thank you for listening.